All right, we are live. Welcome back, you guys, to our daily live feed as you are logging on. As always, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. And tonight, we are beginning our predictions for the Olympia. We're beginning them. So we're going to give everybody a few minutes to get logged on. If you're logging on Instagram, I will be screen sharing over on YouTube. So feel free to jump in on YouTube if you'd like to see photos, things like that go along with all of this. Because I'm going to start off with some predictions, my own predictions, and you'll want to see who I'm picking. So if you are on YouTube, say hello. Get those algorithms working for us so people can see that we are here and active and going. And this is a much anticipated feed. And I say this is part one because we will do part two. Sorry, I got something in my eye. We'll do part two after this coming weekend. And I'll tell you what that means in just a minute. I want to give everybody an opportunity to get logged on first. I always give everybody about 3 minutes to get on. And then we'll go into predictions. So what's up? Welcome. Hello. I'm seeing some new faces on tonight. We are like just over a week out from the Olympia at this point. So it's time to start locking it in, you guys. Time to start locking it in. Comment if you're going to the Olympia in person. I am. Who else is going? And when you say if you're going, tell me what you're most excited about. And we've got a few people that are logging on here that I see that are going to be competing in it. So I'm sure that's what you're most looking forward to if you're actually going and competing. So that's a good thing. I actually don't buy tickets until like right before. And a lot of the reason why is because obviously I'm a part of this industry. So depending on my athletes and if they're actually qualified, things like that, that's what's going to determine which tickets I purchase. So everything, show friends and drinks. Yes, there you go. I love that. Where is it going to be? It's in Vegas. I'll be screaming. I'll be in Hawaii. There you go. Yeah, so some people go to this thing and they go for the whole shebang and all that kind of stuff. I am more strategic because I am going to see my athletes more than anything else. And I'm going to report, obviously, on what's going on in each division. So I kind of am a little bit more strategic about how I determine how I'm going to go and where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do and all that kind of stuff. But absolutely, this is a great way to end out the year with, as Jared said, show friends and drinks. Can't get better than that in Vegas right there. But yeah, so let's get into this. So tonight we are going to go through some of the predictions. We're not going to go through all. And the reason why is because we have Battle of Texas coming up this weekend. And we have some contenders that are in that show. So I don't want to do all of my predictions yet because I want to see what they look like, what some of those girls look like. And we'll do a preview of that show and everything too, like we typically do, before I actually give my full prediction. So we will wrap up the predictions either on Sunday or Monday night. It's going to depend on a lot of things as far as because next week I leave on Wednesday going to Vegas and all of that. So it's just going to depend on how some things fall in the next few days. Tonight, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you my top 10 for figure. I'm going to give you my top 10 to 15-ish for wellness. And then I'm going to give you my top 6 for bikini. Okay? So no, I'm not going to be at the Texas show in person. Nope, I'm going to be here. Like I said before, that's the reason why I didn't go to nationals. If you guys didn't see it already, I've posted Brandy several times. She won the overall at nationals this past weekend. If you check out my last YouTube upload from yesterday, I featured her on there as well, so you can get to know her a little bit, and it shows you where you can go follow her and all that kind of stuff too. So yes, this weekend was definitely very successful as far as the cutie community is concerned, because our girl took home not only a pro card, but the overall at nationals in bikini. So that was freaking awesome. So congratulations to Brandy again. She is calling it a season, which I think is fantastic. Great move on her part. She had a flawless season with 3 overalls this year. So you can't get much better than that. And the strategy all began at Cuties Conquering the Stage this past year. So it's pretty awesome how that all came together. So, they're going to let cameras inside, of course, yes, but they're just probably going to be a little bit strict on live streaming and things like that. So, sorry for the party, but yeah, I know, right? Every time I watch so Jennifer just said that had her all in the fields with the recap of Brandy, and every time I watch that back, I start to tear up. I say this all the time. I'm getting so much like my dad. My dad cries at everything. It's just crazy. So I'm getting more and more like him as I get older. So we're going to start with figure. But let me get rid of a few of these things so you guys can see the actual screen. I'm going to get rid of the chat overlay now. There we go. And I'm going to give you my top 10 prediction for figure. Now, pulling top 10s for figure and also for wellness were tricky because a lot of these girls have not competed a lot throughout the year. So we're going based on how they placed a couple of times, how they looked a couple of times, that kind of thing. So it's a very, like my figure one is a very rough estimate. There were some girls that were in the top 10 last year that I didn't put in for this year, and simply because they haven't competed all year. So I'm just not sure about a lot of these people, but I wanted to highlight a few of them that I think that could make an impact. There's a few that are coming in that are new to the Olympia stage and things like that too. And I think a few of the placings are going to get a little bit of shakeup. So I wanted to show who they are. So let me share screen. Hold on a second here. Okay, so here we go. First, who I have in the 10th place spot is Shanice Abrams. So Shanice won her Olympia qualification at Pittsburgh Pro. I was there in person and I saw her win that, and she just really lit up that stage. So I do think that she could be a potential one to be paying attention to at this show at the Olympia. I do think she could be a potential top 10 athlete. So I do have her sitting in my 10th place spot right now. So I'm going to kind of roll through these girls pretty quickly because we have a lot of people to go through. So if you have anything you want to add, please type into the comments and I will address it or, answer your questions, that kind of thing. But I think Shanice could be potentially a top 10 competitor. I do have her in my 10th place spot right now. In 9th, I have Boyana. Boyana is a veteran to the stage. She has been on the Olympia stage several times. She does tend to be in the top 15-ish area. So based on her packages this year, I do think she could be a potential top 10 placement. I don't know where she placed last year. So at the Arnold, she was 6th. So I do think she could be potentially moving into the top 10 placings here for the Olympia. I think if I click on this, I'm pretty sure it'll tell me what she placed at the Olympia. Well, it's not moving. So sometimes this happens where my thing doesn't want to move. But anyway, she does tend to be up towards the top 15, top 16 spots. So right now I have her in my 9th place spot. Next, I have Lola Montez. So Lola is one of the few girls this year who has actually competed and won a couple of shows. So she won the Arnold UK, and she also won the Boston Pro. So I do have her up in my top 10 for this year. I have her in my 8th place spot right now. So that's who I have for 8th for figure. So again, guys, if you're just logging on, I'm really going to kind of go through each of these girls pretty quickly because I'm going to go through figure, wellness, and some of bikini tonight. So I want to be able to get through to everybody. Hey, Brandy, we were just talking about you just a minute ago. So congratulations again, Brandy, on your overall win at Nationals. There she is right there on YouTube. So those of you on YouTube there with her, go ahead and say congratulations. So there we have Lola. Next up, I have Julia Waring. So Julia, as we know, she just won the Texas State. It was the only show she did this year, and she came out and won it very convincingly. And let's see if I can get a good front picture so you guys can see it. That's a good one right there. She has been just outside of the top 10. She was 11th this past year. So I think that this year she's going to move up. She took a full year to just, recoup her body and get better and all of those kinds of things. So I am on YouTube. That's why I mentioned if you want to go onto YouTube, I'm screen sharing on YouTube. I can't screen share on Instagram. It doesn't allow that. So go onto YouTube and you can see it there. Julia, I have her up in my top 10 this year. So I do have her at what? 10, 9, 8, 7th. I have her at 7th right now. So Julia is also one of our speakers for Cuties Conquering the Stage. So if you are coming, you will see her in person there and be able to learn from her and everything as well. She's one of our perennial speakers, and there's a reason for that. She's very, very good at what she does. So looking forward to that as well. And I do think she's going to move up this year. Next up, I have Rhea Gale. So Rhea is another one that has won 2 shows this year. Again, there's not a whole lot of girls that have competed a lot this year and placed well and won shows this year. So Rhea is one of them. She won, what'd she win? She won San Antonio and Sasquatch. So she, I believe, will move up this year, right? I believe she will move up. So I have her right outside of those top spots. I have her in my, did I say 5th for her? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I have her at 5th right now. So I have Rhea up in 5th right now. Now, the girls from 5th to 10th, I really feel like any of those could kind of flip-flop. I just placed them in this order because I think they're going to be the ones that you see up in those top call outs. So what's up, Jessica? So Jessica Wilson just logged on. She is one of the ones competing at Battle of Texas this coming weekend. And she's one of the reasons why I'm not previewing all of Bikini tonight. We're just doing the top part of Bikini for tonight. So wish her a happy peak week right there. Jessica's one of our speakers for Cuties Conquering the Stage this year too. So you'll get to meet her in person if you're coming this year. So I have Rhea up there too. Like I said, these girls from 5th to 10th really could go any which way. I think that they're going to make an impact this year. I think they're going to make an impact. Next up, I have Natalia. So Natalia Solitero has won the Arnold in the past. But I believe what was she at the Arnold? She was 5th at the Arnold this year. She slipped a bit. Her conditioning wasn't great. She just looked a little bit like she was, I don't know, maybe a little tired, that kind of thing. So I did drop her a little bit for the Olympia this year for that reason. But with that said, she's had plenty of time off. So maybe she's done some things to kind of improve her package since the Arnold. And if that's the case, she could easily move back up again because she was in 2nd this past year. So right now I have her sitting at 4th, but that's just simply because of what we saw from her the last time that she was on stage. So again, she could move up. Next up, I have Jessica Reyes Padilla. So Jessica Reyes went on a tear this year. She won a ton of shows. She is a top contender anyway, as it is. So I do have her sitting in that 3rd place spot right now. And the main reason why I have her in the 3rd place spot is because I feel like she does carry a little bit more muscle. She's a little bit bigger than some of the other girls. So I still think 3rd is good. I think she could actually move up to 2nd possibly. But I do have her sitting in 3rd right now. And again, she won a ton of shows this year. She won, let me see, there 1, 2, 3. She won at least 3 shows. I'm saying 3, but I thought she won more than that this year. So anyway, 3 is still a lot, especially in figure. There weren't a lot of girls that were repeat winners this year. So I have Jessica Reyes in my 3rd place position. In 2nd place, I have Stephanie Gibson. Now, Stephanie was a standout this past year. Stephanie, let me see, she took 3rd this past year. So, she really kind of came out, and to me, I'd never seen her before, and I remember seeing her kind of thing. So we haven't seen her. We haven't seen her since the Olympia, I think. The last time she competed was the Olympia. So it could be a complete miss on this, but I think that she's just probably gotten better. So I do have her sitting in that 2nd place spot right now. Now, I could be completely wrong on that. I just gave her the benefit of the doubt because she was a newbie last year, and I just think she's going to get better this year. So I have her in my 2nd place. Now, as always, we kind of have to put Miss Sid Gillen in that 1st place position. So until she decides to retire, I'm not seeing anybody beating her right now. I don't see anybody coming in taking over this spot from her. I just think she's just too dominant as far as her genetics are concerned. Her stage presence, everything about her is just a notch above everybody else. So I think she's going to repeat again, which I think will be is this her sixth? This will be her sixth if she wins this one. I think. I can't remember. She's got so many. But yeah, I don't see, again, I listened to her champion speech and things like that too after the Olympia last year. And I just don't see her stopping until she decides to stop. I don't see her losing until she decides to stop. There was a time frame where we had Candice Lewis-Carter and Latoria Watson, and these girls really kind of battled back and forth between each other, between the three of them. And the two of those other girls don't compete anymore. So unless one of them decides to come back, which I would love to see because I love both of their physiques, I just don't see anybody giving her a run for her money quite yet. So we'll see. But that is my figure top 10. So if anybody has anything they wanted to add on there, go ahead and type into the comments. If you agree with me, disagree with me, have anything to add, blah, 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 this is your time. But I don't think anybody, I haven't seen anybody say that Sydney's not going to win it again. Basically, outside of her, again, I can see those top 5 spots kind of switching around a little bit. I can see 5th through 10th switching around a little bit, but I do think that that's going to be relatively close. And also, the other reason why I chose some of the girls that I did is because like physiques compare with like physiques. A lot of the girls that I chose in this lineup for these top 10, I like their looks, and I want to see their looks get rewarded. So we will see. So let's move on to wellness. Erin Stern is in bikini. She's not figure. Let's get rid of that. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. All right. Let's go to wellness next. I got wellness up right here. Hang on, let me move this bar just a second here. Okay, so I did wellness a little bit differently because the same concept with wellness. We have not seen a lot of these girls compete a lot. And if they have competed, it's not been against a lot of people. It's been like 5 girls in a class kind of thing. So when I was going through the list of qualified athletes for wellness, I was like, well, this girl could be up there. Well, this girl could be up there. Well, this girl could be up there. There was a lot of them where I was like, this really, we don't know. We're not going to know this until they get on this stage. A lot of these girls have come from other countries like Brazil, and we have not seen them in the States at all. So, we just don't know what they're going to look like yet until they get next to each other. So I kind of broke this down a little bit differently. I have girls that I think are going to be in the 11 to 15 spots. And then I have girls that I think are going to be in the 10 to the 5 spots. And then I have my top 4. So I'm pretty solid on my top 4. But outside of the top 4, I'm not really sure. So I feel like wellness is going to be the most interesting. I agree. I think wellness is going to be the most interesting. I think we're going to see some things like precedents being held. I'm hoping that we see, clear criteria, that kind of thing. So we'll see. But let's start. Let me see how I want to start this. Hang on a second. I think I want to start here with, what do I have? Yeah. And I didn't put these girls in any kind of order. I literally just pulled them on the order that I had them in from the Olympia qualification list. So I don't have any particular favorites. And as you guys know, when it comes to all of these divisions, the only dog that I have in the race here is here in wellness, and that is Devin. So other than that, I have no preferences. I have no clients. So I'm not biased with any of these girls, anything like that. So I'm just telling you what I see and how I see it. So let's go with this. So one of the girls I think that could be in the 11 to 15 spot is Giselle. So Giselle is one that we haven't seen on stage a lot. She's won 2 shows, but again, these shows were small, so it's not like she, she was in front of a lot of competition. The Puerto Rico Pro here, and then also the Miami Muscle Beach show are the ones that she won. Let me see if I can find a good Front shot, maybe. There's Devin. Devin's over on Instagram. We'll be talking about you in a minute. So this is a decent front shot right here. Kind of, it's a quarter turn, but let me pull that up so you can see what she looks like. So I have Giselle as a potential one to watch. I felt like she made some big improvements from one show to the next that she did this year. So I'm curious to see what she's going to do for Olympia. I think she could be in the somewhere between 11 to 15. She's one of them I have in the 11 to 15 zone. Let's go to the next one I have in that is Rayanne Vogel. So this is another girl in Brazil, right? So we haven't seen her in the States and don't know what she's going to look like when she gets here. But just from looking at her photos, I think she looks really good. It's just going to be a matter of how she actually stands up when she gets here in front of everybody else. But I think she has a physique that is going to be comparable to the top physiques here when she gets on the Olympia stage. So she's one that I think could be up there. And I think, Devin, I think you're the one that mentioned me to her, I think, to check her out. So I did. I went and took a look at her. And I am impressed. I think she could potentially be somebody to look out for sure. So again, I have her somewhere in the 11 to 15 range right there. Next, I have Michelle Abada. So Michelle Abada is one that has won 2 shows. She's won 2 shows this year. She just won Hawaii. She's the one that I mentioned. The first show that she won, I felt like she was really over conditioned. But then Hawaii, I felt like she got a little bit better on that, a little bit less and a little bit rounder, and I liked that look a little bit better. So I felt like she was going in the right direction. And again, she has won 2 shows this year, so I do think she could be one that could be in the top 15 somewhere. She could even move up higher than the 11 to 15 zone, but currently that's where I have her sitting because I personally think that her conditioning is a little bit too much at times. So we'll see what she looks like when she actually gets on the Olympia stage. And she was also that I mentioned her suit top was too small and she needs to get a bigger suit top. So let's see if she gets a bigger suit top for the Olympia. So we got her. Let's go to our next one. I have Babby in this 11 to 15 zone. And the reason why I have her there is because I actually really love the way she looks. I love her look. I think she's gorgeous. I like her shape. I like all of the things about her, except that it looks like she's behind in her prep on social media. Now, could be completely wrong based on the social media aspect of it. I could be completely off. She could be totally fine. But if she is behind, then she will probably slip out of the top 15. If she comes in condition, I could see her moving up even into the top 10. So we will see where she lands. Currently, I have her sitting somewhere between 11 to 15 based on what I'm seeing. I believe that's about where she was last year as well. So I don't see her moving up unless her conditioning comes in relatively quickly. But we'll see. Again, I really, really like her look. I think she's stunning. So I would like to see her come in shape and like to see her do very well. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out for her. So right now I have her somewhere between 11 and 15. Let's go next. Now, this is the kind of the wild card because this is one girl that has not won a show yet, and that's Jasmine Payne. So Jasmine Payne has not won a show this year, but she is qualified on points. She has done a really good job in kind of restructuring her frame. I do think she's pretty muscular still. And I do think that her conditioning needs to come in. But she also did Hawaii as a warm-up. And in that, she looked a whole lot better than she looked earlier in the year. And even at that, earlier in the year, she was taking top 4 positions at shows like Pittsburgh. So the judges do like her look. So if she brings this in right, I can see her being up in the top 15. She could move up into, 11, 10, somewhere in that range. I don't think she's going to get into the top 10, but I can see her placing. And so those of you that don't know, if you are under 15th place, you just get the placing of 16. So this is why we're doing the top 15 right now. Okay. So I think she can place. I think she can get up into the top 15. So we'll see how she ends up pulling in her conditioning for this show. But I think she's kind of the wild card here in that scenario, right? Okay, so now we're going to move into the girls that I feel like are going to be in our top 10. Let's move to Andrea. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name, but she's super cute. And again, this is one that Devin told me to pay attention to because she looks like her. And I totally agree with Devin's assessment on this. I think she does look like Devin. Again, another girl that's from Brazil. So another girl we haven't seen here yet in the States. And yeah, holy cow, Jasmine's legs. Yeah, she's a big girl. She's a ton of muscle, ton of muscle. But this girl, I really like her look. Again, I'm going based on show photos and, stuff I've seen on Instagram and things like that, because she has not competed here in the States. So I haven't seen her against anybody up here. But this, to me, this frame right here, this screams wellness to me, right? So I do think she's going to make an impact. She's super pretty and cute. Got a really, really awesome package. Like, this is just so bubbly and round. I see her moving up and being in somewhere in those top 10 spaces. So I do see her in there, somewhere between 5 and 10. So the girls we're going through now are somewhere between 5 and 10. Okay. So again, I'm not giving exact placings on these girls because we have not seen them compete against each other, which is why it makes this division so difficult to actually have predictions, because they've never been on stages next to each other. So that's why I'm giving ranges right now. I'm giving ranges. Okay. Then let's go. I have Bruna in the top 10 as well. I think she was top 10 this past year too. She did win Sin City Showdown. Again, another really pretty girl, and another girl that has a really wellness frame. Like, she just, to me, screams wellness. There's some girls that you look at and you're like, oh, they could go to a different division, blah, blah, blah. There's some girls that you're like, no, this girl's just wellness. And she's one of them. She needs to make some improvements. I think she placed 8th. Okay. She was top 10 last year. So I do think she's going to be top 10 again. I don't see her really getting up into the top 5. It might happen. But I do think she's going to be in the top 10. I do think she's going to make it to the top 10. So, I spoke faster than you can type. Yep. So I do think she's going to be up there. And again, a lot of this is going to depend on how everybody looks next to each other, how people's conditioning comes in, all those kinds of things. That's all part of this, right? So we can predict all we want, but what matters is who shows up and how they show up on show day, right? So, but I see her as a top 10 contender right there. Next, I have Devin. So Devin, you were 13th last year. I have Devin moving up into the top 10 this year. She pulled out her first win this year, and it was her best package I've seen to date, and she looks even better now. So I do see her moving up. I do see her in the top 10, somewhere between the 5 and 10 spots. I'm hoping for that because I want to see you up in that final stage. 14th, okay, 14th. That was close. I gave you one. So Devin was 14th last year. I see her moving up into the top 10 this year. Her frame is just better this year. She's gotten everything streamlined into that wellness look. Me too. Devin looks so much better now than she did last year. Agree, 100%. So I do see her moving up into those top 10 placings. So she's another one that I have up there. Next up, I have Julia Chitara. So Julia was 5th at the Olympia this past year. She was, what did she do? She did 3rd in Pittsburgh. Beautiful girl. She was a little off in Pittsburgh. As far as she just looked a little bit soft, that kind of thing. But I think she competed several times at that point. She won a show back down in Brazil, and she's just a really beautiful girl. And again, I believe she was 5th, if I'm not mistaken. I think she was 5th this year, or this past year at the Olympia. So I do see her in the top 10 again. Haven't seen her in a while. Again, a lot of these girls have been off since the beginning of spring. So they could be coming back with amazing packages that we just haven't seen yet. So I could be giving her a lower placing, but she could end up looking better. So we'll see. Yeah, she was 5th last year, so I thought. So she could end up back into that 5th place position. I don't see that being out of reach for her. But I think top 10 is safe. I think top 10 is reasonable. And we'll see. We'll see if she ends up back into that 5th place spot or not. But we got her back up there. And next up, I have Cassandra Gillis. She won Toronto, but before Toronto, she was placing top 2 in wellness in both New York and Pittsburgh, she placed top 2. So I have Cassandra moving up. I don't know where she was again. I don't know where she was for Olympia, but the fact that she was placing so well in these top tier shows, I think she's going to do well here at the Olympia. I think she will be top 10 as well. And again, she hasn't been on stage since early this year, so she's had time to get better, which is good. We always want time to get better. She was 11th. Okay, so I see her moving up. I see her moving up into that top 10, somewhere in there. Again, I don't think she's going to hit that top 5, but I do think she's going to be somewhere between like 5 to 10, somewhere in that zone. So I do have her in that area. And then the last one that I have in this top 5 area is Urishna. So Urishna was 4th at this past Olympia. The reason why I have her dropping right now is simply because I think she's a little behind on her conditioning. I think she obviously fits the division very, very well. But from what I've seen, just from previews, things like that, she's another one that's like Babby. I think she's a little bit behind on her conditioning. Now, if she can kick it into gear and come in tight and round and all those kinds of things, she can definitely retake that 4th place spot. But right now I have her probably landing in 5th. I have her probably in the 5th place spot, which is still not a terrible spot. You don't ever want to drop down from a year before. But if it's only one placing, I think she's good. She could very well come in and go back to 4th. You know what I mean? But right now I have her in my 5th place position. And we'll just see what she looks like when she actually gets on stage with her conditioning and how she actually pulls this all together. Again, she won Boston Pro. She's been doing very well. What was she at the Arnold? Was she 5th or something at the Arnold? I can't remember what her placing was. I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, she was 5th at the Arnold. So I believe she's probably going to be right there at the Olympia as well. I think she's probably going to be right there at the Olympia as well. So that's my, 5 through 10, basically. Okay. So now we're going to go into my top 4. So in 4th, I have Sunny. And I'm pretty solid on Sunny getting to 4th place. I think that's going to be where she lands. She looks really good going into the show. She has not been off at all this year. I've had critiques about her in the past with her posing and things like that. I don't think that's an issue with her anymore. I think her conditioning is on point. We'll see what she looks like when she gets on stage this year. But again, I think she's probably pretty solid for the top 4 spot. I wish Urishna could be more consistent. Sometimes she's really on, sometimes she's really off, like weird conditioning, etc. I agree. It's hard for me to place Urishna because I really do like her and I think that she has a great look and everything. But you're right. Sometimes she's really on and sometimes she's really off. You're absolutely right. So it's very hard to place her sometimes, and especially on a prediction. You know what I mean? So I do think she's going to hit the top 5 still, but I think it's going to be on the lower end of that top 5. Sunny, I think, is going to jump her. I think Sunny's going to be in that 4th place position. And Sunny did win 2 shows this year. Or no, did she win 2 shows? Which shows did she win? I'm forgetting right now. I can pull her record up. She did. She won Pittsburgh and New York. So she was 3rd at the Arnold. I think she'll probably be 3rd again. I have her in those top 2 spots. Oh, you know what? I just realized that I have hold on. I have people that I missed. Hang on. We got Sunny. Yeah, I screwed up. Hold on. So, I forgot about this. Okay. So Sunny is technically going to be in my 5th place spot now. Because I messed this up. I've still got 3 more. I've got 3 more names to go. Hold on. 4, 3, 2, 1. No, I was right. I'm getting all confused. Sorry. I've got so many people I'm talking about. So I've got Sunny in 4th. Okay. We're good. Okay. Whew, I got lost for a second. So we're going to go on to 3rd place now. I got lost for a hot second. So 3rd place, I have Angela. I have Angela in 3rd. Angela Borges. She took 2nd at the Arnold. That's why I was getting confused because I was getting the Arnold in my head. So I have her in 3rd. I have Angela in 3rd. She took 2nd in Boston to Urishna. She took 2nd at the Arnold. We'll see what she looks like now, but I just don't see her going higher than this. So I think she's going to end up in that 3rd place position. I think she's going to get beat out this year, pretty handedly. I could even see Sunny potentially taking over the spot from her. I could see Sunny jumping her. I just don't see her being in the top 2 spots this year. I think she's going to be third, potentially even fourth right here. So, but again, going back to that same thing I've said this whole time, we haven't seen her on stage since Boston. Unless she competed, I think she competed at home. I think she competed in Brazil once, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that too. Trying to remember these things off the top of my head, and they're actually listed here on NBC News, so I can pull it up. Let me do that real quick, so I'm not talking out of my butt here. No, it's just Boston. So she did Boston, she did the Arnold. So I will see. We'll see, but I have her in third currently. In second, I have Issa. Coming in and hitting second. She won the Arnold. I think she's got a fantastic package. And if you guys remember back when Issa and Francielli went against each other, Francielli won her pro card. It was very, very tight between Issa and Francielli. I actually liked Issa over Francielli at that particular show. But as they've grown into the pros that they are, I think they're still going to be very, very tight. I think it's going to be a very tight race between the two of them. But I think that Issa's going to end up in that second place position. I think she's going to end up in that second place. She's got, again, phenomenal wellness frame, phenomenal look. Overall looks fantastic. Overall is a really good look for this division. But I think she's going to be in second. So that leaves us with first place, which I have Francielli repeating, and Francielli coming in and winning again. We haven't seen Francielli on stage since the Olympia. So, a lot of things happen in a year, actually more than a year at this point. So she could be completely off. But I've never seen her be completely off. I've always seen Francielli being a top contender every time she's been on stage. I've never seen her off. I don't know if anybody else has, but I've never seen her off. I've never seen her make a mistake. So I just don't see anybody beating her this year. And I think that would be the case for a while. I mean, it's really hard to beat this look. It's really hard to beat this package. Her shape is on point, her conditioning, her size, everything, her look, everything is on point. So I just think it's going to be very difficult to leapfrog her. I think if anybody does, it's going to be Issa. I think if anybody's going to take the title from her, it's going to be Issa. So we will see. Yeah, she's looking amazing. She's always on point. And again, I've never seen her off. Like we were just talking about with Urishna. If Urishna could be very consistent, she could be potentially in that talk. Francielli is always consistent. She's always on. She's never off. So I do have her reclaiming that title a second time. So that is my wellness and my figure predictions. Now, we are going to go into bikini, but we are only going to talk about the top 6 in bikini. Now, the reason why we're only going to talk about the top 6 in bikini is because I got top 10. Like I said before, this is just to kind of paraphrase your comment. We don't know what's going to happen in this particular division because most of these girls have not been against each other. So I just pulled girls that I liked the look based on the photos that I saw on NBC News Online and pictures that I've seen on their Instagram. We don't know. There's been a lot of girls who have not been here to this state, so I could be completely off, and I 100% own that. So this is going to, like we said at the beginning of this is going to be the most interesting division as far as wellness is concerned. But these are the ones that I see. That's it. So with that said, we're moving on to bikini. So like I said with bikini, we have Battle of Texas coming up this coming weekend. So I didn't want to go through my top 15 on bikini yet. Because of all the divisions, this is the one where we have seen the girls on stage all year. Tons of competitors competing several times. So this is the one where we can probably make the most educated guess, right? Versus, figure we've only had a few girls that have won multiple titles. Same thing with wellness. We've only had a few girls that have won multiple titles. Girls have not been on stage all year, so we don't know what they look like. So bikini, we can do that. Bikini, we can nail it down just a little bit more. So what I do have nailed down right now is my top 6. I have my top 6 nailed down right now. Now, after this weekend, after Battle of Texas, I'll come back and I'll give you guys my 7 through 15. And I may even switch a 5 or a 6. I might switch them out based on how these girls do this coming weekend, right? So that said, let's get to our top 6. All right. So people are probably gonna get mad at me over this stuff, and that's fine. But this is what I see, and this is how I see this going down, and I will give you guys the reason why. Okay. In my 6th place position, I have Janet. Now, I'm actually a big Janet fan. I love Janet. I've loved her since she first got on stage. I was always rooting for her, that kind of thing. She's been off for a year. She did come back and she competed a couple of times this year. She has never lost her Olympia title because she didn't compete last year. Okay, so she's technically never lost her Olympia title because she didn't compete in the Olympia last year. All right, she won the Olympia the year before. However, when she's been back this year, she's gotten beaten pretty hard in several of these shows, right? She just lost a lot of size, that kind of thing. Yeah, people are going to get mad at me. They are. It's okay. People get mad at me. It's okay. It happens every year. That's the beauty of a subjective sport, you guys. We're never always going to agree. That's the whole thing. So I have her in my 6th place position right now. Now, she has been off stage since New York. She hasn't been on stage since June. So if she's put on some decent size and some fullness and some roundness since then, this could very well change and she could move up. But based on how she has performed this year, I don't see her beating anybody else that's in that top 5 right now. Okay, I just don't see it. Again, if she's put on size, if she's put on some fullness, maybe. And, this kind of thing has happened before. All the predictions out there, yours is probably the most well-researched and well-thought-out one. Thank you. I take this seriously, you guys. The unfortunate part about this is, like I said, she never really lost her title. But this did happen to Issa as well. She came in one year and she dropped way down after winning the title the year before. So, but Issa climbed her way back up, and we're going to get into Issa in a minute too. So I have Janet in my 6th place position right now. Like I always tell these girls too, girls that get upset with me over my predictions, prove me wrong. I said that to Jennifer Dory 2 years ago. 2 years ago, people were saying she was going to win it, blah, 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 blah. I said, no, she's not going to win it. She's going to be top 5, but she's not going to win it. And I went up to her and I told her at the Meet the Olympians, I said, go prove me wrong. Go prove me wrong. And she took that as a challenge, right? Yeah, Janet's all glutes and delts, but even with that, she just lost a lot of size this past year. So again, now she's taken the time over the summer to put some size back on. She very well could move up. But at this point, again, I'm going based on how she's performed this year so far. So I love Janet, but there's a storm coming. Right? Yes. So the next one that I have in line. Now, again, people are probably going to get mad at me at this because I have Ashley Kaltwasser in 5th. Okay. I understand that Ashley's a 3-time Miss Olympia winner. I understand that she has the most wins in our sport. I totally 100% get that. But the girls that I have ahead of her this year have all beaten her this year. Okay, they've all beaten her this year. So I think Ashley looks great. I think she's doing a phenomenal job, and she is the only, other than Janet. I mean, Janet's another one. But, Ashley's one of the only OG competitors out there that is still killing the game, right? So again, it's not a slight on her, but the reason why I have her in the 5th place position is because she's been beaten by all of these girls that I have above her this year. Okay, and I think some people forget that because she has so many wins, but when she gets in front of these, or in the lineups with these other girls, they beat her, right? Now, the other part of this is that she beat Janet in Pittsburgh. So this is another reason why I have Janet below Ashley right now. Okay, I have Janet below Ashley because Ashley did beat Janet in Pittsburgh. Okay, now Ashley is a very, very, very good back pose, but where she loses a lot of this sometimes is her front pose. So if she can pull that tummy in, get that waistline nice and tight, hit that front pose correctly, then she has the opportunity to move up because her back pose is very, very hard to beat. And I do think she's one of these ones that has great conditioning for bikini. I think she's right down the middle with all those things. I think her posing has 100% improved, all those kinds of things like that. But when you start getting in front of these girls that are genetic freaks, that's where you see her weaknesses, right? So while she's a dominant competitor, we're going to see her get in front of or next to these other girls that have beat her in the past. Okay, so that's why I have her in 5th place right now. And again, as I said, she can prove me wrong. She can go absolutely prove me wrong. And I have Issa in that 4th place position. And the reason why I have Issa in that 4th place position, she's coming off of 3 wins this year. 3 wins this year, okay? 2 of those wins were beating Ashley, okay? 2 of those wins were beating Ashley. Issa is a 2-time Miss Bikini Olympia winner. She fell from grace for a year, but then she kicked her ass back into shape and got back up here to be competitive again, right? Ashley is just an OG phenomenon. I love her so much, but even if she were to lose, what I love about her is that she keeps figuring out what to do better. True, that's true. So the reason why I have Issa beating Ashley is because she has beaten Ashley twice this year. Actually, 3 times, right? She beat her I think she beat her at the Arnold too. Am I wrong on that? I could be wrong on that. Can't remember what she did at the Arnold. Hold on, let me pull it up, make sure I said that right. What'd she do? So I think Ashley beat Issa at the Arnold, but then they competed in 2 shows. Yeah, Ashley beat Issa at the Arnold, but then Issa beat Ashley twice after that. So that's why I have her over. Okay. Oh, did I say twice? I don't even know. Sorry, guys. I'm getting all my numbers mixed up. But anyway, she's an Olympia winner. Period. She's an Olympia winner. Period. Sorry. Yeah, that's right. Angelica won it twice. Issa won it once. So that's why I have Issa ahead. I have Issa ahead for that reason. Okay. Now, again, going back to this can go any which way when they all get on stage together. But like I was just mentioning with Ashley's waistline being a little bit thicker, Issa's waistline is like non-existent, right? So that's the one place where Issa kind of beats her out, I feel like, when they're next to each other. So we'll see how this plays out when they actually get up into the Olympia ranks again. Okay. In 3rd place, I have Maureen. So the reason why I have Maureen in 3rd place is because, again, Maureen has beaten both Issa and Ashley. So Maureen was 2nd at the Arnold, and then she won the Boston Pro right after that. And we haven't seen her on stage since. But she was also 4th at the Olympia last year. So I do have her moving up. I have her moving up into that 3rd place position, right? Now, again, these 3 girls, these 4 girls I just mentioned, they could all flip-flop one way or the other. The reason why I'm placing them the way that I'm placing them is based on how they performed this year throughout the year against each other. Okay? Against each other. The Olympia is one stage. These other stages all count too. Okay? So I have Maureen in my 3rd place spot. I also think that Maureen is the perfect conditioning and shape for Olympia, period. I just do. I think she's a future Miss Olympia. I do. I mean, she could even win it this year. She came close at the Arnold. She came close at the Arnold. She was a little soft at the Arnold, and that's what kept her out of that top spot. If she fixes that, she could very well end up in the 2nd or 1st place position here. Okay? So I have Maureen in that 3rd place spot. Now, top 2 spots, you probably can see it on the screen already. I have Laura Lee in 2nd. I have a repeat from last year. Okay. Now, Laura Lee and Jennifer Dory last year only were a point apart. They were 1 point apart. It wasn't like one girl beat the other one by a lot. So, again, this could be something where it could flip-flop real quick, real easy. The reason why I have Laura Lee in 2nd is because from what I've seen from, Instagram previews and things like that, she looks like she might be a little bit too big, hard, that kind of thing. And Jennifer Dory looks like she's tightened her conditioning up a little bit, which is where she needed to go. So you put those 2 things together, and it's got to go one way or the other, right? It's got to go one way or the other. So, again, yeah, Jennifer said she's leaner than this year, or than last year. That was her feedback that she was told they wanted to see from her. They were told her they wanted to see her a little bit tighter. So she's doing that. So if she's doing what they told her to do in order to get better, that should equate to a win, especially when she already won being softer. That should. Again, these are all maybes and should be's, and if the sky falls, whatever. Everything could be completely different on show day, right? Everything could be completely different on show day. So we'll see. But obviously, since I've got Laura Lee in second, that means that we're putting Jennifer back into that first place position. Now, to say, I don't think that Jennifer Dory is a very super dominant competitor, right? I don't think she's one of those people that when she walks on stage, she's just going to win it. I don't think she's a Francielli, right? I don't think that. But I do think that she's done enough to be able to retain her title. The only thing that gives me pause on Jennifer at all is the fact that she has not competed at all this year. And typically her trend is she comes into her first show as like a warm up. She's a little soft, and then she tweaks everything, goes into her second show, and she's better as she goes along. That's the only thing that gives me a little bit of pause on Jennifer. But overall, I think that if she has done what the judges wanted her to do, there is no reason why she shouldn't repeat. Right? There's no reason why she shouldn't repeat. I think she's done a good job of representing the Miss Bikini Olympia title this year as well. I think she's done a good job of that. So I think all of those things mixed in the pot, I think she will take the title again this year. Now, again, this is just my thoughts, and this is just based on what I've seen throughout the year, and this is just what I've seen these girls doing on stages and on Instagram. That's it. You know what I mean? So my great friend Sally walks onto stage like she owns the entire room and everything and everyone in it. Jennifer Dory is more like the girl next door that you can't not adore or love. Correct. That's how I feel about Jennifer Dory as well. Like, she's that girl that everybody loves, you know? That was very much the same kind of thought process I felt about Angelica too. Angelica was that girl that everybody loved, right? So I feel like that's Jennifer as well, right? I don't know how many have had back-to-back Olympia wins. There's too many. If you're talking about divisions and things like that, there's just too many to talk about. But Ashley's won 3, and then Angelica's won 2. So that should answer that question for bikini at least. But yeah, so I feel pretty solid about this. But again, it's going to be a matter of how they show up that day. And it's also going to be a matter of what the judges decide to reward on show day as well, right? So if based on feedback, they were telling Jennifer Dory they wanted her to be a little bit harder, that tells me they're going to go for a little bit of a harder physique as well. So if they do that, that may actually hurt people like Maureen, right? It may help people like Laura Lee. So we'll see. But like I said, based on what her feedback was, what they wanted to see from her, and what she's doing, I see her repeating. So anybody have any other thoughts that they have on the top 6? Now, again, once we see Battle of Texas this coming weekend, I may change some of these things around, because we have some girls going into Battle of Texas this coming weekend that I could see potentially being threats this year. So I don't really think my top 6 is going to change, but it could. I'm going to wait and see what these girls at Battle of Texas look like, and then I'll do my bottom half of the placements for bikini. Yeah, I'm interested to see the European girls next to the U.S. girls as well. Absolutely. What tends to happen is the European girls in general tend to be a little bit harder than the standard. They tend to be a little bit more muscular than the criteria, and they tend to have a little bit of different presentation details, right? So they tend to stick out when they get to the States, and not in a good way. And that's why they need to come here and compete, just so they can get those kind of jitters out when they get here to the States. Evie Eskandar is a great example of that. Alessia Fashin is a great example of that. They need to come here to the States and actually get acclimated to our standards here so that they can fit in, right? So I'm curious to see what some of them will look like when they get to the Olympia stage 2. I'm sure we'll see a few of them break out. But I think a lot of them are probably going to be in for a little bit of a rude awakening. Unfortunately, they're going to have to say, oh, this isn't going to fly over here once we get to the big stage, right? That's typically what happens. Maureen could steal the show. That would be a huge win for short girls. We've had short girls up at the top before in the past. You know, India's won the Arnold. The only show that India has not won has been the Olympia. But we've had short girls up there in the past. But I could see that happening. I mean, if Maureen comes in on point and they really love her look and she steals the show, I 100% could see her moving up. Absolutely. Yep. I think your prediction is spot on unless there's that one that just sticks out that day. Yes, Battle of Texas might change it up. Yeah, Battle of Texas could change it up a little bit because there's, you know, the difference that we have this year with bikini is that we have 4 Miss Bikini Olympias all competing. So they technically should be in the top 5, right? They technically should be in the top 5 because they've won this before. They shouldn't drop out of the top 5, which makes it really difficult for anybody else to pop in there, right? But like I said, I mean, based on what we saw from Janet this year, I think she might drop out. You know, I think she might not be a top 5 person this year, right? And that's happened to Janet before. Janet's dropped down several times. You know, she was always the bridesmaid, never the bride for a very, very long time. And then she finally won the title. I wish she had competed last year to defend her title last year, because then I think we would be talking about her in a little bit of a different light right now. But because she didn't defend her title last year, I feel like she lost some momentum. I think she lost some of the criteria that she had. She had lost some of that oomph, that power. You know, I think the same thing would happen to Jennifer Dory too if she wasn't coming back this year. I think she would lose some of that momentum. I think she would lose some of that, okay, we're putting her in that top spot. But she was smart about it and she's coming back to defend it. Right. And I think that's the right move, obviously. Now, obviously, we've also seen Laura Lee be never the bride, always the bridesmaid. So she could very well get into that spot. She took the Arnold title this year, but Jennifer Dory didn't compete. So would she have won the Arnold if Jennifer Dory did it? I don't know. Phoebe for a sheesh from me today when I saw her recent posing and post reel. Yeah. Did Janet retire and then change her mind? No, she just said she wasn't going to compete that year's Olympia. There's a lot of reasons why, but she said she wasn't going to compete last year at the Olympia. She did not retire though. She never retired. Nope. And yeah, Phoebe looks great. I'm curious to see what she looks like on stage because again, she's another one that has not been on stage for a year. Right? She won her Olympic qualification. Well, I take that back. She was on stage at the Arnold's and it wasn't her best look because she was very tired. So it's been almost a year that she's been off stage. So she's one going into Battle of Texas that I'm curious to see, right? She's one of the reasons why I don't want to do my bottom half of the placements in those top 15. Me and Jennifer, right? Yeah. Do you think the short girl will win this one day because the crown goes to the girl who's around 5'5"? Of course the short girl can win this one day, 100%. Yeah, short girls did. That's what I'm trying to say, you guys. Back in the day, I'm not sure how tall Sonia Gonzalez was. She was the first ever Miss Bikini Olympia. She was not tall. She was shorter. Nicole Negrani was also on the shorter side. Ashley, yeah, so those were the 2 shorter side. But the thing you got to remember, too, is Bikini is only 12 years old. It's like you can't put a stamp on Bikini because it's only been 12 years. You know, it's only been 12 years. You can't say that something can't be done when it's only been around for just over a decade, right? So we've only had a handful of winners. We've only had a handful of winners. And 2 of them were shorter. Again, if you pull it up on Google, you can probably figure it out how tall Sonia Gonzalez was. I think she was under 5'4", though, if I'm not mistaken. And same thing with Nicole Negrani. I believe she was 5'4" and under, somewhere around there. But I don't know off the top of my head. Any other questions? And I think the same thing with tall girls. I think the tall girls can take it too. I mean, look at Janet's 5'8", Laura Lee's 5'8". I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Angelica was 5'5", and then I think Issa's 5'5" or 5'6", and that's about the same as Ashley. So those are right down your middle. But we've had girls over it, and we've had girls under it. Mm-hmm. Any other questions? So what we're going to do this week is we're going to preview Battle of Texas. I always give it a couple days to make sure we got everybody on the list. So we're going to let that list play out, and then I'll probably do it on Monday. I'll probably do the final bikini predictions on Monday. That'll give me time, because then we'll have pictures and stuff too, because we probably won't have pictures right away, right? So we'll probably just plan for the last half of bikini to be on Monday, and then that way we'll be good going into Olympia. But again, it's going to be a fun Olympia. It's going to be interesting. Like we were saying before, I do think that wellness will likely be the most interesting class. It'll most likely be the most interesting class. Because we haven't seen these girls on stages next to each other at all, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they play out next to each other. And that's it. That's all she wrote. All right, you guys. Well, again, congratulations to Brandy, who is on live on YouTube right now, who is a brand new cutie sponsored athlete from NPC Nationals. She won the overall this past weekend, and we were just talking about Janet. Janet won the overall at Nationals when she won her pro card. So Brandy could very well be following in Janet's footsteps right there. So does Asian girls look smaller than U.S. girls? No. Well, I had no idea they were that tall. Yep. I'm late. I'll catch the play. Yeah, catch the playback. It's an hour long, so you got cardio theater right here, right? So Brandy will be hitting that pro stage next year, and hopefully making some waves in the pro league. With that look. And then, like I said, Janet won that show, won the overall when she won her pro card. So who knows, Brandy? Maybe you're next. I may be talking about you like this one day. With that, I'm going to let you guys go. If you haven't gotten your Cuties Conference stage ticket yet, the link is in my bio on Instagram. It's on my description box here on YouTube. If you are not subscribed to my YouTube yet, you need to do that. Subscribe, turn on notifications, because it lets you know when I'm going live. Lets you know half an hour before I actually go live, so that you can participate here with us and you can chat in and all of that as well. And yeah, that's it. We'll be back again tomorrow night. I have another live feed planned for you guys for tomorrow night, 8:15. So we'll see you back here. And we will also preview Battle of Texas this week too. So we'll see you back here for that. All right. I'm going to log off of Instagram first. Oh, suitsandposing.com too. Suitsandposing.com. That's where you got to go to work with me. So there you go. Log off of Instagram first, and then we'll log off of YouTube. All right. Good night, you guys.